So we're going to do a little bit of a panorama tutorial on how I edit the canola field portrait panoramas. In Lightroom I've got my photos selected here of my friend Michael standing in a canola field. You just right click, there we go, edit in, and then merge to panorama in Photoshop. Now on my computer this may take a little bit of time as it's a bit old and not very powerful. As good as Macs are, you still need something that's got the specifications to handle it. Okay, so we've got our stitched panorama, and we're just going to go back into Lightroom where it should be, hit develop, and we can get to work. So the first thing I do is crop it down to size so we know what we're dealing with. Once again, because it's such a large file size, I think it's over 2 gigabytes, it's going to be a bit hard on the old processors of the iMac. Here we go. Just want to get rid of all those white edges that are left in the side. Make sure the subject is in the middle. It's looking fairly good. Make sure he's standing straight. The horizon's all straight, and then we can work with it from there. Or maybe make it a bit wider. Cool, it's intersecting just about here, straight through his body, which means he's going to be in the middle and his head's just clipping the middle of the image that way. So press K, which is enter on a Mac, and we can get to work. Make sure it's all sharp, which it is. Excellent. Now first thing is I want to make a bit of adjustment to the sky. So I'm going to get my brush tool, bring it down a bit, like somewhere there, and essentially just get colouring in really. If you press Command O, that will show the affected areas. Maybe make it a little bit bigger. Doesn't matter if we clip the edge of the canola field a little bit, so we can just go through and delete that in a second. Space. I'm actually just going to cut straight across the head of our subject. We can just go through and delete that afterwards. Not a problem. Cool, it's all looking pretty schmicko. Just come across here, find the erase tool, and we'll just get to work deleting the affected area off our subject. Doesn't have to be perfect. Excellent, so if we zoom out we can see there is that little bit around his head where you can kind of see a halo because we've deleted it off the edge. Maybe we'll just go back in and fix that. That should be fine. So Command O again to take the red away and see what we're dealing with. Now I want the contrast of the sky to be pretty high against the bright yellow of the canola field. So I'm going to play around with adjusting the exposure just a fraction. Maybe dropping the highlights a little bit. Yeah, we don't want to go too far. Play around with contrast. Just a little bit. Clarity will really give us some depth in the clouds. Push it up a little bit. Bring the shadows down a bit as well. Yeah. Cool. I think that looks alright. Maybe change the sky wasn't quite as blue. I think that about there looks pretty decent. So we have now, I'm also going to take down the sharpness because it's the clouds and it's not really part of what we're supposed to be focusing on. So bring the noise reduction up a little bit as well. So it doesn't matter if that's a bit blurry, same with the long in the foreground here, that's all good. Now we have the canola, but I'm probably going to go through and edit Michael, our subject, a little bit here. Maybe bring his hair out a little bit, smooth this off. Back down to our brush. The brush tool is probably my favourite. And then we just go through, press Command O to see what we're affecting, and then just go in and paint him. Paint his face first, I think we'll do. Shadows in the eyes a bit, wrinkles. So we can see he's highlighted there. It's going to zoom back in. Command O to get rid of the red, and I'm going to put up the shadows a little bit. Bring out that pasty skin a bit more. Maybe a bit of contrast. Clarity down. Skin, smooth it out a little bit. And give it a touch more colour. Can you sharpen us up a bit? So I reckon that's alright. Not much of an adjustment, but it's all that you need. So press K, we'll select another one and do his hair. Start on the hair, paint around, Command O to see what you're affecting. And we're going to try and bring these luscious locks out a little bit. Get a bit of clarity in there. Command O. Bump the shadows up a little bit. Don't want to go too high, it's not that blonde, but then give it a bit of punch with the clarity. Maybe bring that back a little bit. Lights. And sharpness. Cool, I reckon that looks pretty good. Press K to enter, I suppose. And we're going to go down to his watch. I'm just going to try and take a little bit of exposure out of the watch. See if there's anything we can recover here. Drop the highlights down. Go from that to that, where you can see a little bit more. Just in case it gets printed up really big and you're going to be able to see wherever the numbers on the watch. Okay, and we'll zoom back out and we can see what we've done. Okay, now we're going to play around with the canola a little bit here. So once again, I will go to brush because it is my favorite. Click on the canola and let's just start painting it in. Command O so you can see what you're affecting and just get to work painting it in. Zoom in and finish it up. Okay, so that looks about good. I've painted it all in. Once again, doesn't have to be precise. Now, get to have a bit of a muck around here with this. So, don't know if I want to affect the saturation too much. It's pretty yellow as it is. Maybe bring the shadows up a bit. Highlights, contrast, we want to be nice and punchy. A little bit of clarity in here. Try and really paint that in. Sharpness, we want that to be nice. And maybe affect the overall temperature just a tad, make it a bit yellower and a tiny bit greener. Because it is pretty impressive how bright and intense the colours are in these canola fields. I think that looks pretty great. Okay, to enter, and now we can do our overall adjustments. So, play around with the contrast a bit. You can see if you go too far, it just makes it unrealistic. Too far down, so just bring it up a tiny bit. Highlights, I want that sky to be nice and dark. Don't want to go too far, don't want to push it too far in the other direction either. Let's bring it down just a tiny bit. Bring the shadows up a little bit. It's mainly going to affect the canola, which is what we want. I reckon there's about right. Bring the whites up a tad. Too far blows it out. Too low makes it boring. Just a tad. Bring the blacks down just a smidgen. Clarity too far makes it look stupid and overcooked. Clarity down makes it look like a blurry fantasy. So we'll bring it up just a tiny bit. Vibrance, don't want too much of that at all. Don't want to make it a black and white, although that does look kind of interesting. Just bring it up a smidgen. Cool, now go down to our luminance and our hue and saturation just to try and make these yellows a bit more golden, because that's kind of how they were in my mind. Don't want to make it green, don't want to make it red, so just adjust them from the yellow that they were down a little smidgen. Same for the greens, you can go from fluoro green to essentially brown. And the stems were a little bit more fluoro. Cool, I think we've done it. Add a little bit of sharpening to the overall image. Once again, if it's going to get printed up nice and big, you want it to look sharp. If we've zoomed in on Michael here, we can see the effect that sharpening has. Goes from the still sharp but slightly blurry just to bring it up a tad. Now lens correction, I'm not sure if it's going to pick it up. Hopefully it does. Probably won't have an effect at all because we've cropped it down and it's been merged in Photoshop and whatnot, but we'll have a look. Our overall image. That's without lens correction. That's with lens correction. So it did have a little bit of effect. We'll probably leave that one on. And you know, you could probably make some adjustments here or there to the cropping. Maybe put a little bit of vignetting on if you wanted to. I personally won't. I think it's pretty good as it is. It's how I remember it. Moody and overcast with some bright canola. Power lines, you could probably remove them in Photoshop if you wanted to. I don't like photoshopping things out of my images because I like to keep it how I remembered it. So I think I'm going to leave it about how that is. So we have our completed image, how we imported it. To how we ended up with a nice, potentially printable image. So the process for editing this panoramic portrait was pretty much the same as the other one. The other one was more vertical, where this is more of a true landscape panoramic portrait. I'll just go through the steps that I've already done. I won't recreate it. So this is how it looked when it came in. Same as the vertical portrait. Got to crop out the edges, adjust the lens profile corrections. Find out the crop that works for you. I generally like it to be pretty wide because I like to keep a lot of the landscape in. And then we just kind of went through painting in the sky. Adjusting the contrast. Cropping it down a little bit more. Trying to find that sweet spot. And really getting through and just doing all the, essentially the same adjustments that we were doing in the vertical portrait, just on a bit of a larger scale. Painting in the various parts. I did the subject Michael the same way I did the one in the vertical one. I adjusted the sky the same. I adjusted all the canola the same. Just a very quick push through of how I went about it all. As you can see, there are a lot more than what I'm showing you, all the different adjustments I made to get it just right. Mucking around with the sky, trying to find the right color, whether I wanted that really more blue tingy or the true color that I thought it was. All the minor adjustments just before exporting it. Then this is the final image as I exported it and put on my website. So you go from the unedited photo to the final result. Process was the same, different photo. Thanks for watching.